We're going to talk about understanding 12-step programs and how they work because there's a lot of misconceptions around. So in this video, I'm going to share what 12-step programs are, exactly what you can expect if you go to one, and how they can really help you and the ones you love, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there that prevent people from seeing their value. But first, my name's Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. So basically, 12-step programs are peer support groups that are free that help guide you in healing addiction or other dysfunctional behaviors. And most of them are worldwide, which is why they're so popular. Now, most of you have heard of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's the original program that started in 1939 with two men, Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson, who had an alcohol problem and they didn't have any other way of getting sober and they were really struggling. So they formed their own support group. And over time, it became so popular that it literally is now in almost every country. And because of that, it spurred into about 30 plus other 12-step programs ranging from Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Debtors Anonymous, Emotions Anonymous, and various others that deal with difficult behaviors that most people may struggle with, but they don't want to admit to. There's a lot of shame involved when we look at these behaviors. And what 12-step programs did is it made them acceptable because it wasn't seen as a moral issue. It was seen as something that you're powerless over, but the 12-step program can help you recover one day at a time. Now, these meetings are usually in person, but they're also, since the pandemic, now on Zoom, telephone, even WhatsApp. So not every program, but most of them have telephone or Zoom meetings because now that's just so much more accessible to people. And that's another reason why this is such a huge help to people, because in remote areas where you don't have access to therapy or to other psychological services, you can do it in your home. Now, one of the reasons why I'm talking about this today is because I have been involved in 12-step programs for 30 plus years. So I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to tout that they're perfect or that they're for everyone. But what I really want to do is help you understand how they work because, again, there's so many misconceptions out there that I really want to straighten out. So what are these groups exactly? They're basically peer support groups that focus on recovery principles and the 12 steps. So recovery principles are things like powerlessness, where you admit that you're powerless over a behavior or a certain substance. Or you might be looking at letting go of control and keeping the focus on you and being accountable for your own behavior versus looking at what everybody else is doing. And what they do is they help you live a happier life. Now, the 12 steps walk you through how to recover from your particular issue. And what's cool about it is that they have a saying called, you can take what you like and leave the rest, which basically means that if something doesn't fit or you don't like it, leave it alone. Because this program is really basically a set of guidelines that you can choose from. Now, when you're talking about Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, those programs will focus much more on encouraging you to do the steps right away because those programs are life and death. Now, when we're talking about the 12 steps, they're usually done with a sponsor and you do them in written form. And usually you follow the big book or the 12 steps in that particular program. But here's the cool thing, even though the steps are really the meat of the program and that's where you really start to heal your own behavior, again, it's an option and you don't have to do it right away. You can check out the program for several months. I know a lot of people that have gone to 12-step programs that didn't work the steps for several months because they weren't ready, and that's okay. Now, the other thing with 12-step programs is you can get a sponsor, which is basically a mentor that is going to give you individualized support and walk you through how they worked the program. So you basically are going to look for somebody who has what you want. Whatever their life experience, what their recovery looks like, they may look happy, they may look like they have really good, solid relationships. That's the person I want you to look for. Somebody that has a few years at least, because you really want to pick somebody who has recovery already. But the other thing is you can change sponsors at will, because people are people and sometimes it's just not a fit, and that's okay. Or if you're hesitant, one of the things I recommend is find a temporary sponsor and just say, hey, can we try this for 30 days to see if we're a fit? Because sometimes we're not going to be a fit with everybody, and that's okay. Now, the next thing is there's different kinds of meetings. There's a speaker meeting where a speaker talks for like 45 minutes and tells their story. And basically that means they share their experience, strength, and hope from where they came from. What led to their addiction or their difficult behavior, and how the program has helped them and where they're at today, typically is what it looks like. Another type of meeting is a speaker sharing meeting. This is what I would start with if you're new, because the speaker speaks for about 15-20 minutes, and then there are different people that share for say 3 to 5 minutes. So you're going to get a really good sense of what the meeting is about with hearing people's stories, because what you want to do is you want to identify with what you connect with. Because part of what trips people up is they focus on what's different versus what's similar. Now, another meeting is a literature meeting. This is where they read from their own literature. And another meeting is they often have special focus meetings for men, for women, for LGBTQ, for any special population that wants their own meeting. And usually it's listed on directories. So what's cool is that you get to pick and choose what kind of meeting you want to do. Another thing that happens in 12-step meetings is they typically don't allow crosstalk, which means that somebody should not directly be commenting on what you shared at a meeting. It's really more about when people share, they should feel free to share whatever they want to share without somebody telling them what they should be doing afterwards. And again, people are human, so if you've had this experience, I've had this experience a few times, I just leave it alone and say, thanks for sharing, but I'm not looking for advice right now, because that's how you can take care of yourself. So now let's address some of the myths. One is, I hear this all the time, it's a religious program because they mention God, and a lot of people get turned off by this. But here's the thing, it's basically God as you understand him, which means that you get to pick your own definition of whatever higher power you want. And if you're an atheist or agnostic, you don't have to believe in a God or a higher power at all. And nobody is going to press you initially on that, because that could be one of the areas where you take what you like and leave the rest. And if you have no interest in having a relationship with a higher power, that is perfectly fine. People will respect that. And if they don't, that's their problem, not yours, okay? Because everybody works at their own pace. The next one is, it's a cult. Now, a cult is when there's a leader and they want to brainwash the group to follow their own agenda. And in 12-step groups, there is no leader. There is no guru. The members themselves rotate service positions so that not one person is in charge. And the groups are basically run by the 12 traditions, which really focuses on unity and the good of the group. It's really meant to be a healing support group for those who want it. Third, I hear these people are crazy. And you know what? People don't go to 12-step programs because they're well. They go because they're in pain and they're suffering. And part of what I want you to keep in mind is that there are going to be some people that are more disturbed in 12-step meetings, but there are also going to be some that aren't. Most of the people that go to 12-step programs are pretty functional, okay? And when you're starting 12-step recovery, you want to look for what a healthy meeting looks like. And what a healthy meeting looks like is people are laughing, people are happy. There might be some people who are crying and in distress, but they also have some hope. This also means that you are going to hear some pretty vulnerable things in a meeting, and I want you to be prepared for that. The next is that a healthy meeting follows a script, and that's how you can tell a meeting is healthy, because there's a structure, there's people who are consistently attending, and the overall feeling is good, happy, and they're grateful to be there. Whereas an unhealthy meeting is not going to feel that way. It's going to feel a little chaotic. It's going to feel negative. It's going to feel overwhelmingly like people are focusing more on the problem than the solution. And that's really important because you want to make sure that you're going to a meeting that's healthy. So what I always recommend, and what 12-step people recommend, is to try at least 6 different meetings before making a decision, because every group has a different flavor. I myself have gone to meetings that I absolutely love and feel at home right away, and others that I'm like, no, that doesn't feel good at all, I'm not going back. And that's okay. That's part of the recovery process, is to find the people that resonate for you. So the next step, if you want to check out what recovery looks like, is my video on codependency recovery, the stages of recovery, because that's going to give you an idea of what the stages look like when you're in recovery from codependency. And feel free to hit subscribe. I'd love to have you here.